Hello, everybody. It's Daniel here. And today we have another emotional English podcast episode where we learn an English language effortlessly, emotionally, fulfilled with energy, and of course, positively. Welcome, everyone. And today I have another mini story for you, emotional mini story or the mini story with moral about kindness. Today we speak about kindness. And my first question to you guys is, what is kindness for you? Do you think that kindness exists? It exists today or it doesn't exist? What do you think? Because I like the idea of Plato that there is no darkness around us. There is only light. And when you see some kind of darkness or the dark room or dark area, it's probably not because it's darkness attacked. It's just because there is no light switched on, you know? And I think if you see the light, it represents kindness. If you see a good person, it means the person is full of light inside. When you see a bad person, the person is not bad. The problem is the person just doesn't have enough light inside. And we should be the fire, and we should share this fire to make the place more enlightened, you know? We should give the light to other people or to other beings, to other situations to make the life better. And today's story is about this topic. We need to be kind. We need to share kindness with people who surrounds us. You know, if you see the person and the person is angry, try to be kind with that person. Try to see that that person is not an anger itself. The person is good, but he or she shows the anger for a reason. And maybe that reason inside of you. So let's check it out, what the story is gonna tell us. And maybe we will conclude with an idea, with something great. And the story called The Needle Tree. Do you know what is needle? The needle is something sharp. If you see the Christmas tree, if you imagining the Christmas tree right now, you see that Christmas tree has many, 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 many needles on it, right? So these green needles are very sharp. If you touch these needles, it's pretty painful, right? So the needle tree is the name of our today's story. Let's dive into it and let's check what the story is telling us what kind of moral statement we'll see inside. And this story has like 5 or 6 paragraphs inside. I will connect some of them together to make it more understandable. And then I will go through each paragraph and I'll ask you some questions and I'll need your fast reaction related to the mini story, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. If I see something new, something interesting, like the interesting vocabulary, or if I see something interesting as a construction or whatever, or grammar statement, so we can discuss it deeply to make it more clear. So let's start from the first paragraph, shall we? Once there were 2 brothers who lived at the forest edge. The oldest brother was always unkind to his younger brother. The older brother took all the food and snatched all the good clothes. Okay? That's the first paragraph. We go through and we check the new vocab again with commenting of each sentence. Once there were 2 brothers who lived at the forest edge, right? The forest's edge means it's not inside of a dense forest, right? It's not somewhere in the center of the forest. It's somewhere on the edge. It's like the end of the forest. It's just like a side, right? Like a side of the forest. And it could be the side where the forest ends, right? It's called the edge. If you see the mountain has edges as well. You know, the cliffs, they have a edge, and you don't want to stand on the edge because you can fall down. So edge, it's like the end of something, right? Yeah, here we have the context of forest's edge. It's the end of the forest. And there are two brothers, and these brothers, they live at the end of the forest. So the oldest brother was always unkind to his younger brother. So it's pretty self-explanatory here, right? The older brother took all the food and snatched all the good clothes. It means, so there is a young brother and there is an old brother, right? Older brother. So the older brother is kind of unkind, right? And always took all the food, good food, and snatched all the very good clothes. It means snatching means getting, you know, stealing or picking up the best. And, you know, most of the time, people who are greedy, they are snatching all good things, right? So when you snatch something good, you're trying to get it as soon as you can. So don't be unkind. So do not snatch things for yourself, okay? And now I would ask you a couple of questions. Try to answer me immediately about this paragraph. So how many characters we have in this little paragraph? You're right. There are two of them, right? Do you remember what kind of characters are they? Yeah, the first character is the brother number one, right? So it's a younger brother, right? And the second character is the brother number two. Right. That's the oldest brother, right? The oldest brother. And who is unkind in the story? So the younger brother is unkind, or the oldest brother is unkind. Yeah, you're right. The oldest brother was very unkind, right? So why? Why he's unkind? Because he always very disrespectful with his dog, right? No, not the dog. He is always unkind and disrespectful with his younger brother, okay? Younger brother, the smaller one. So the older brother took all the food and snatched all the good clothes. So it means, who is greedy? The younger one or the oldest one? Of course, the oldest. The oldest pretty greedy because he always took all the food, good food, and he always snatched all the good clothes. Not good of him. Not good of him, right? So that's the first paragraph done. Now we jumped into the second paragraph. The oldest brother used to go into the forest in search of firewood to sell in the market. As he walked through the forest, he chopped off the branches of every tree until he came upon a magical tree. So that's the second paragraph. So the oldest brother used to go into the forest in search of firewood to sell in the market. So what is firewood? Do you know? Yeah, that's the specific wood which you use for fire, right? If you want to make a fire, for example, you want to have a bonfire, so you need a wood, right? But you need not just the wood, you need a wood which fires good, in a good way, right? Which has a better, let's say, better characteristics for firing, right? So, and this wood called firewood. Firewood is good for fire, for making a fire, right? So, and why the oldest brother used to go into the forest? Yeah, it's pretty banal here, right? So the oldest brother used to go into the forest because he was in search of firewood. But why he needed firewood? Of course, he needed firewood to sell in the market, right? So he was selling firewood and getting some money for it. As he walked through the forest, he chopped off the branches of every tree until he came upon a magical tree. So the beautiful word here is chop off, right? What does it mean to chop off? It means to cut the branches, to cut the tree off. It means the tree is falling down or branches are falling down, right? So if you see the tree, when you're chopping off the tree, now the tree is not standing, it's lying on the ground. And you're chopping off the tree, you're cutting it into little pieces, right? What can you chop off? You can chop off the human's flesh, or you can chop off the tree, or you can chop off the branch, or you can chop off, let's say, you can chop something off. You can cut something into smaller pieces, right? So that's the idea. To chop off means to cut something down, right? So, and who went to the forest? The younger brother or the oldest brother? Right. The oldest, right? So the oldest brother went to the forest. He was searching for firewood, and he was searching for firewood for a reason, right? He had a reason. And what was the reason? Of course, to sell the firewood in the market. He didn't want to sell charcoal. He didn't want to sell flowers. He didn't want to sell mushrooms. He wanted to sell firewood, right? So he walked through the forest. He chopped off the branches of every tree. So what did he chop off? He chopped off mushrooms. He chopped off charcoal. No. You cannot chop off charcoal with an axe, right? You need a pickaxe, right? And you cannot chop something off with a pickaxe as well because it's not sharp enough. So you need something close to knife or to axe to chop things off, right? Yeah. So let's see what's happened, one day when he was chopping off the branches, chopping off the trees. So what happened there? So he came upon a magical tree, right? So what do you think? Now let's imagine what kind of magic this tree has, right? Or had. What kind of magic the tree has? Probably something great. I think it's about conversation skill. So the tree could speak, isn't it? Let's check it out together. So the tree stopped him before he chopped its branches. And the tree said, "Oh, kind sir, please spare my branches. If you spare me, I will provide you with golden apples." See? What kind of magic does the tree have? So the tree has a beautiful magic. It could speak. Right? It could speak. It could speak nicely. And the tree said, "Oh, dear sir, or kind sir, please spare my branches. Spare my branches." Spare my branches means save my branches. If you spare me, if you save myself, I will give you the golden apples, right? I will provide you with golden apples. So the tree was very magical because it has two beautiful characteristics, right? What was the first one? Do you remember? First of all, of course, the tree could speak, right? I was correct with that. So the second good characteristic of a tree was that the tree promised the oldest brother provide him a golden apples, right? With golden apples. So the tree promised, please spare me, spare my branches, spare me, because if you do spare me, I will provide you with golden apples. So the tree was very magical because the tree had a chance to provide golden apples, something unique, something great, something magical, right? So that was the magic itself. The tree had two beautiful characteristics. Characteristic number one was the tree could speak. And number two, the tree had a chance to provide golden apples from nowhere, right? That was the magic. But there was a thing, right? So the tree gave a promise to provide the golden apples if the oldest brother spare the branches. What does it mean to spare the branches? It means to save, to not chop off, right? So this is the idea. If you're not chopping off the branches, if you're not chopping off the tree, so the tree providing you the golden apples with golden apples. So to spare means to save, right? Spare me, right? It means please do not touch me, do not cut me off, do not chop me off, please, right? So that was the statement of the tree. That was the words what the tree were saying to the oldest brother, right? So let's see what the next action happened. So the oldest brother agreed, but was feeling disappointed with how many apples the tree gave him. So the oldest brother was happy or the oldest brother was sad? What do you think? Of course, the oldest brother was sad because the oldest brother agreed, but he was feeling disappointed. He was feeling not happy with the amount of apples he got, right? So what a greedy brother. So the oldest brother was greedy because first of all, you remember, he snatched all the good clothes. He snatched all the good food. He took all the good food of the younger brother, right? And now he even more greedy because he is not satisfied with amount of apples the tree gave it to him, right? Had given to him. So that was very, very bad, right? Let's see the next statement, what the brother did next. So the oldest brother was very disappointed and he overcome by greed, right? The brother threatened to cut the entire tree if it didn't provide him with more apples. Okay? So, but instead of giving more apples, the tree showered him with, not showered, of course, showered, right? Showered with him with hundreds of tiny needles, right? So showered him with hundreds of tiny needles, and the brother fell to the ground, the brother crying in pain as the sun began to set. So let's go step by step with this paragraph. So overcome by greed. So the greed attacked the oldest brother again, and the brother threatened to cut the entire tree. So the brother came back to the magical tree and said, "Hey, if you don't give me more golden apples, if you don't give me these apples, so I cut the entire tree. I will or would cut you down," right? I would chop off all the branches and all the tree. So that was the brother threat, right? He was threatening the tree, and the brother threatened to cut the entire tree if the tree didn't provide him with more apples, okay? So what was the reason why the brother came to the tree again? He wanted to say thank you. No. He didn't want to say thank you, right? He wanted to threaten the tree. Why the brother wanted to threaten the tree? He did want to threaten the tree because his greed attacked him, right? He was overcame by the greed, and that was a big problem of his. So he didn't know what to do with that feeling, and he started threatening the tree, and he started to ask more and more golden apples. And what the finale? What happened in the end? So instead of giving more apples, the tree showered the brother with hundreds of tiny needles, right? So the tree didn't give the golden apples, right? The tree attacked attacked the brother with hundreds of tiny needles, showered him, right? Showered, it means like a shower. You know, when you're having a shower, you have the water drops, right? But now you don't have these drops. You have needles, hundreds of tiny needles, and it was like an attack, like a minigun, right? Of small, tiny needles, right? And the brother fell down to the ground. Oh my God. And he was crying, right? The brother fell to the ground and crying in pain as the sun began to set. So is brother feeling good right now? Of course not. Of course not. He was attacked by the tree and he didn't get the apples he wanted, right? So he is crying now. He is in pain and nobody could help him that time, right? So nobody can help him right now. That's a big, big problem. So, and the sun began to set. So now the sun going down. What is going on next? Let's read the next paragraph. Soon the younger brother became worried and he went to search for his older brother. He searched until he found him at the trunk of the tree, lying down in pain with hundreds of needles on his body. Oh my goodness. So the younger brother, was very kind. You know, he was very careful with all things happening around. So he was worried. He was worried about his brother and he became worried and he went to search for his older brother to the forest. So he searched until he found his older brother at the trunk of the tree. What is the trunk of the tree? You know, the tree has many components, right? So the trunk, it's not the car back, right? It's not the place where you put your stuff. So the trunk could be the main biggest branch, right, of the tree. It's like, every tree has roots, every tree has trunk, and every tree has branches, right? So the trunk, it's this biggest stick in the center, right? And all other sticks placed on the trunk, all right? That's the idea. So he found his younger brother, found him at the trunk of the tree. And the brother was standing there, or he was lying there. Of course, he was lying there in pain, in a deep pain. Oh my goodness, what a poor oldest brother, right? And he was lying in pain because of what? Because of hundreds of needles, right, on his body. So that's pretty banal. And the last paragraph, but not least, let's see what happened next. So he rushed to him. So his younger brother rushed to his oldest one and started to painstakingly remove each needle with love. Okay. Beautiful phrase, to painstakingly remove each needle with love. So the word painstakingly is an adverb here. So when you're doing something painstakingly, it means very carefully, with full attentiveness, right? Full attention. And you're trying to find your attentiveness, and you're trying to be concentrated on each action you're doing. So his younger brother started to painstakingly remove each needle with love. He was concentrated. He was sharing love. And step by step, needle by needle, he removed all of them, right? Once the needles were out, the oldest brother apologized for treating his younger brother so badly. So that's a good side of the brother showed up, right? Like I said before, remember? So the person is not bad. It's the actions which are bad, right? So once the needles were out, the oldest brother apologized for treating his younger brother so badly. And the magical tree saw the change in the older brother's heart. So the magical tree saw the big change in the older brother's heart and gifted them with all the golden apples they could need. What a beautiful ending, right? So finally, they've got all the golden apples they needed, and they were happy to have all of them, right? That's the end of the story. So, and again, when you're trying to do something painstakingly, you're doing it very, very, very carefully, with full attentiveness, right? With full understanding, and you're trying to do it very, very, concentrated, right? Some people do things very painstakingly. It means they're super concentrated. For example, I'm a Virgo, according to this to the signs of the stars, right? And horoscope shows that Virgos, they do have good actions, right? We are very concentrated on things. So we're doing things painstakingly, right? Very concentrated. So that's we are Virgos, right? So now let's read the whole story one more time, the full story from the beginning until the end. And then you will try to connect all the dots inside of your mind and clarify all information. So I will read the whole story one time, and you understand the whole story because we got all the details already, okay? Once there were two brothers who lived at the forest edge. The oldest brother was always unkind to his younger brother. The older brother took all the food and snatched all the good clothes. The oldest brother used to go into the forest in search of firewood to sell in the market. As he walked through the forest, he chopped off the branches of every tree until he came upon a magical tree. The tree stopped him before he chopped its branches and said, "Oh, kind sir, please spare my branches. If you spare me, I will provide you with golden apples." The oldest brother agreed, but was feeling disappointed with how many apples the tree gave him. Overcome by greed, the brother threatened to cut the entire tree if it didn't provide him with more apples. But instead of giving more apples, the tree showered him with hundreds of tiny needles. The brother fell to the ground, crying in pain as the sun began to set. Soon, the younger brother became worried and went to search for his older brother. He searched until he found him at the trunk of the tree, lying in pain with hundreds of needles on his body. He rushed to him and started to painstakingly remove each needle with love. Once the needles were out, the oldest brother apologized for treating his younger brother so badly. And the magical tree saw the change in the older brother's heart and gifted them with all the golden apples they could need. The end. All right? So what do you think is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is pretty simple here. It's important to be kind, as it will always be rewarded, right? No matter what kind of person is standing in front of you, if you are kind with that person, you will be rewarded. Because this person is you. This person is your karma. This person is your experience. So if you share kindness with that person, with this person, you will always be rewarded. Thank you all for that beautiful day. Thank you all for that beautiful lesson and this podcast experience. So I'll see you guys next time, next week. And you, please have a beautiful evening or a beautiful day, no matter what you're doing. Be happy with things you do. And thank you all to be with us. Hug you all. Love you all. See you very soon. Bye-bye.